In this video, we're going to learn how to use a counter. Now, we already have used counters, for example, for I in range, 4 or something. So I, as we know, is the loop counter for this for loop. And that's fine. So for for loops, the loop counter is already taken care of. And in fact, the number of times that it loops, we already know because we're the ones that told Python how many times to loop it. Other kinds of loops are not like that. So for example, while loops. So while loops, we don't know how many times it's going to loop, and we don't know when it's going to stop. And so what we can do is create a variable called counter, or you could call it whatever you want. You can call it counter, you can call it loop counter, it's up to you. So with this variable, every time that we loop through this while loop, we can increase the variable. So pretend that in this while loop, we're going to do some random stuff, print random stuff, and maybe we have something like x equals input, type some random stuff here. Okay, so whatever it is that I'm going to do in my while loop, I've finished doing it. And so what I can do here is I can increase my counter. To increase our variable, we just go counter equals counter plus 1. Or alternatively, we can say counter plus equals 1. This is like the shorthand version, so you don't have to type counter again. So these two lines do the same thing. We'll go with this one because that's how most people do it. Because we have this variable keeping track of the number of times that we're doing something, we know how many times this is going to loop. So we can just print that so that we can see what's going on. Let's run it. Okay, random stuff, type some random stuff here. Okay, and we can see it typed a 1. So our loop counter is at 1. And so it's looping again. So it said random stuff again, and it said type some random stuff here again. I'll do that again. And here we go. Loop counter is at 2. Loop counter is at 3. Loop counter is at 4, and so on. So we can keep track of how many times that we're looping through here. We can also only increment the count in certain situations. So for example, let's put an if statement here. If x equals I don't know, blarg. Okay, so only if I typed blarg in here will I increase the counter. Okay, so let's try that. Type some random stuff here. Counter did not increase. Type some other random stuff. Counter did not increase. Let's type blarg. Okay, counter is increased to 1. Type some other random stuff. Let's type blarg again. Counter is increased to 2. Type some other random stuff here. And so I did not type blarg, and counter did not increase. And so that's how you can increase the counter only when you want it to increase. In fact, we might more accurately call this like blarg counter or something, right? Just to give it a more useful name. So it depends what kind of counter that you're doing. So yeah, this counter business is quite useful at certain times and in certain situations. So just wanted to let you know how to go about using it. It's nothing really new. It's just a different way of using the variables that we've already know how to use. All right, that's all for this lesson, and we'll see you in the next video.